Welcome back everyone to more of our custom career mode and career experience. And today is race day, our very first race day in the NASCAR Truck Series. Season 1 in the Truck Series is about to begin. Now our game plan for today's video is we're going to run Season 1 in the trucks, and hopefully we'll have enough time to run a full season in ARCA as well. We've got new drivers in both series, and I'm extremely excited about getting started. As has been the case recently, I'll take care of all of the copy paste of race results and things like that off camera so that we can focus on these race results together. Okay, so let's start off with the Truck Series. And there's one note that I want to make before we generate our first race results. And that is, if you'll notice that after everything's sorted out, with me adding in the drivers, we actually had 3 of our 4 teams were Tier 3. Kaylee Bryson was the only one that was a Tier 4. So what I did, if we come over to the series relative performance, is I added 5 more performance upgrades to this particular series so that we could get, I wanted to do just enough to get everybody of the same tier. Now, had we all been Tier 5 together, Tier 4 together, whatever, that would have been fine, because obviously we got a lot more upgrades to do to both our drivers as well as the team in the trucks. But I wanted to make sure everybody was on an equal playing field for our team. If we're going to compare their finishes together and their championship standings together, they all need to be of the same tier going forward. So that's what we're going to do with the additional 5, and I've also done that. So it took $262,000 to make that happen, leaving us with a total of $216,000 in our bank account. Yes, we're running a little bit low, but hey, it was more than worth it to get everyone into the same boat. We all need to be paddling together, and for that, we need to be in the same boat. So now, let's get this thing started. Truck season number 1. All right, generate first race finish. And you notice, well, this doesn't look all that good. And this is a great time to talk about our expectations. As a Tier 3 team, we should expect to be somewhere around 20th, which means I'm expecting that by the end of the season, our season standing in points should be somewhere between about 16th to about 24th or 25th, somewhere in that range, averaging out around the 20th position. So as long as our drivers get into that range, I will be happy, because there's not going to be a whole lot that we can take from this season, because we're not going to be running for a championship. We're not going to get a lot of top 5s and a lot of top 10s. We're just not that kind of team right now. We've got a lot of work to do before we can get there. So what I'll be focusing on here in season number 1 is I'm going to go ahead and scroll across so that we can get as many races on the screen as possible. I'm going to be focused on any top 10s and certainly any top 5s that we might get. But other than that, we're going to move through here fairly quickly. So race number 2. Oh, really? Really? After everything I just said, Taylor Reimer says, don't even worry about it. I got you. And brings home our first victory in the NASCAR truck schedule. That is, wow, very, very unexpected. I thought we might have a shot to get some victories next season once we've earned some money this year to do more upgrades to both drivers and car. But I didn't think we were going to be in line for any this year. But Taylor brings it home for us. So race 2 was a great race for us. Race 4, you can see. Race 3 and 4, no top 10s. For us, still no top 10s. Race 7, still no top 10s. Oh, it does look like I missed a top 10 for Taylor. Oh, yeah. Yeah, race 3. Okay, yep, totally missed that one, which is understandable given all my focus was on race number 2. So she is having a great season so far. So race 8, nope, no top 10s there. Race 9, there we go. Jade Avedision comes in with a second place finish. So we might not be able to get very many top 5s or top 10s, but we're making them count when we do get them. So let me go ahead and highlight real quick. So we'll know that we're looking from the highlight down on the screen for these race results. All right, let's keep going. There's another top 10, the first for Haley Deegan, coming home 7th. All right, another top 10 for Jade, coming in 8th. Oof, that was a rough race. Race 14 was rough for us. Nobody finished in the top 20. And that is certainly not what we're looking for. But again, not entirely unexpected. So now let's go ahead and scroll across so that we can get all 23 races on screen. Again, we're looking for top 5s, top 10s. I mean, we'll take race wins. Wasn't expecting it, but we'll certainly take one. Yeah, they are slim pickings. There we go. Finally, another top 5 finish, and it's for Jade Avedition. She's got 2 of them now. All right, final race of the year, and okay, not bad. 11th, 12th, 16th, all of those are better than our average expected finish. So season 1 in the books. Let's take a look at where we are overall. And obviously, the first thing that jumps out is we got a win. Taylor Reimer brings home our first team win in the Truck Series. And in points, hey, I'm going to consider this to be a successful season for all 4 of our drivers. Why? Because I said that 20th would be about our average. Overall, I expected we would probably have 1 or 2 teams finish better than that, 1 or 2 teams finish worse than that. Instead, all 4 of our teams are above it. We finished 17, 18, 19, and 20. So that is a very successful season, with Taylor Reimer having the best season overall. Jade Avedition, however, I mean, that's 2 top 5s, 3 top 10s to top the 4 drivers. So between Taylor and Jade, very good years. I will certainly take that. Now we need to look beyond our team, because obviously we're always on the lookout for talent. So who did well? Who is showing promise that we might be looking at in the future? And I already see a few guys that I've got my eye on. The first that stands out is Matty D. Matt DiBenedetto. Second in points, 3 wins in a Tier 2 team. That is extremely impressive. Now, he's a top-tier driver in the trucks for sure, but his team, not so much. So they average out to a Tier 2, and that, wow, that's a great result for him as a Tier 2 team. Somebody else that caught my eye, Amber Balkin. I placed her, when I was filling out the roster, I placed her with the 3rd Kyle Busch Motorsports team. This is the team that normally has a part-time driver or Kyle himself driving. I decided to put her there because, well, I wanted to see what she could do. And shall we say, she did great. Finished 3rd in the points, 2 victories, 18 top 10s, 9 top 5s. Yeah, she did quite well for herself. So very well done there. Both of those jump out. But then at the bottom, if we look down in this area toward the bottom of the list, I see Hunter Robbins from the Super Late Model ranks. I see Casey Roderick. I put these guys in here, not with a Tier 1 team. Casey Roderick is with Nice Motorsports, a Tier 2. And then On Point Motorsports, a Tier 3. But each of these guys came home with a victory. That puts them very much on my radar, particularly Casey Roderick here. Not only did he get a win, 3 top 5s and 8 top 10s. That is a quality season from a Tier 2 team. So Casey Roderick is a name I'm going to jot down and look at in the future, as well as Hunter Robbins, Matt DiBenedetto, and Amber Balkin. Now, the way I'm looking at this going forward is Matty D is sort of a sentimental favorite for me. I'd love to see him get a top quality ride that he can compete consistently for wins and championships and that kind of thing, no matter which series it ends up being in. So that's kind of why I wouldn't mind bringing him on board in one of our series. But beyond that, I've got my eye on a couple of super late model drivers here, as well as we've got another female driver here that we're giving a great opportunity to for the future. So that's kind of how I'm looking at these things, and we'll just see how it works out in the future. But now we need to move back over to ARCA. So let's close out the trucks, move back into ARCA, and you see here we are ready to go. So we've got our driver list of Carson Kvapil, Jeffrey Earnhardt, Michael House, and Sammy Smith. All tier 1s. But before we get started, we need to do some dynamic adjustments. Been a minute since I've done a couple of these, so I'm going to do 2 of them in each of the areas, and we'll see how that works out. So we'll go, we did teams, let's go manufacturer. And then finally, we'll do drivers. And every once in a while, I'm sure that I am going to do some of these multiple times and forget, while I might forget to do one of the other areas, and that's fine. As long as we get these in here, I am perfectly fine that some of them might have more adjustments than the others. That is not a problem. But I am very much enjoying these dynamic adjustments. So now that we've done the adjustments, we come back over to ARCA. We see that we are all good at tier 1s. But now I'm kind of interested. What does that do for us in the trucks? Does it do anything? Oh, it does. It very much does. Jade and Taylor both move up to tier 2. So that means they must have had some very good fortune in these dynamic adjustments. So nice there. Now granted, we're going to be doing more upgrades there, so that's not going to be the final, but it does give me a lot of hope that our drivers are doing well. Or at least a couple of them are in those dynamic adjustments. Now it's time for ARCA season, I believe 4. Is that how many we've run? Or we're ready for our 4th one, I should say. So there's season 1, season 2, season 3, yep, and now we're ready for season 4. All right, so who's going to emerge as the leader of our ARCA series? All right, generate the finish. Well, Jeffrey Earnhardt off to a very strong start with a top 5, our first top 5 of the season. Once again, we're going to scroll over a little bit, and I am going to highlight so we can get as many races on the screen. All right, there we go. 2nd place finish for Michael House, doing very well. See Jeffrey Earnhardt, 3rd and 6th. He's off to a very hot start. Oof, I spoke too soon. Dead last in race 3. That's not what we wanted. That's not what we needed. But then the very next race, I was beginning to worry a little bit about Carson Kvapil. He was not off to a great start, and then he comes home with our first race victory of the season. So not bad at all. Everybody's having sort of their own season right now. You can see so far, we got a couple of drivers in the top 10, then a different driver got our first and only victory of the season so far. So pretty happy about the start to our season. 5 races in, so far so good. Oh, now this is what we're talking about. Race 6. We go home 4th, 5th, 6th, and 7th. Just line them all up. Too bad we couldn't have been a few spots higher than that and lined them up like that. Wouldn't it be amazing if we could sweep the top 4 in a race? And our 2nd victory of the season goes to Jeffrey Earnhardt this time. So once again, a very strong performance. Even though 12th might not look that great, if that's your worst performing car of the 4, you're doing just fine. Race number 8, another quality performance from Carson Kvapil. His last 3 races have been fantastic. And there we go. Our 3rd race win of the season goes to Sammy Smith. So let's finish out the first 10 races of the season and take a moment here to see where we are in the standings. A bit of a surprise for me, Jeffrey Earnhardt is leading the points halfway through the season. Remember, ARCA only has 20 races in a full season, at least in the schedule we're using. So Jeffrey Earnhardt is first, Sammy Smith second, then Michael Howson 7th, Carson Kvapil in 9th. Now Carson, he's had a hot streak, but he's more hit or miss, it seems, from what we've seen in the past. So 10 races in, Jeffrey Earnhardt and Sammy Smith leading the way. All right, race 11, another couple of strong performances. Very well done. All right, not bad. Not bad at all. I'm now seeing 3 of our drivers in the top 5 in points. That's what I want to see. Now, the next thing is we need to get multiple victories. We need to start dominating some races. I mean, we're getting multiple top 10s. In the last 3 races, we've had 2 drivers in the top 5. So we're doing well. Certainly no complaints from me. But of course, I'm always wanting more. So race 14, certainly not what we were looking for in race 14. Also, you notice Jeffrey Earnhardt is sliding. He's had some not so good finishes, particularly the 31st. That didn't help him out at all. You got to avoid those if you're going to climb back into the season standings, but still overall, not too bad. All right, race 16, and we get another victory. The final member of our team, the last of the 4 to get his very first victory, is Michael House, who is having quite the season, I might add. He has 8 top 5s, and that is certainly nothing to be sad about. In fact, as I look, we've got Hunter Robbins also has 8 top 5s, but nobody else is there or higher. So a very good season for Michael House. He's making himself a strong candidate to move up when the time comes. All right, race 17, another quality performance. 2nd, 3rd, and a 7th thrown in there. Very good. Very good. All right, so let's finish up these last few races, and then we'll come back over and take a look at the final tallies on the points as well as wins. Race 18, another great race. 2nd, 3rd, and 5th. Race 19, not nearly as good. Not terrible, because 12th was our worst finish, but overall, not quite what we were looking for. And then the final race of the season, race 20, another couple of top 5s. So as we scroll back over, let's take a look at where things landed. In points, who is our champion? Hunter Robbins is our champion. Well, I told you he was on my list, but over here in ARCA, he's getting it done. Now, we saw what he did in trucks, and yes, it's okay with me that they are running in multiple series. That is not a problem, particularly the developmental series, because we're looking for talent, and Hunter Robbins is your champion. He brings home 4 victories. So not only was he the champion, he leads the series in wins, and it looks like he leads in top 10s and top 5s as well. So that is a dominating season from Hunter Robbins. Now, from our team, we come home 3rd, 5th, 7th, and 9th. So overall, I have to say, I'm pretty happy with that. I would like to see Carson Kvapil a little bit better than 9th. No worse than 8th. It was also sad to see that Jeffrey Earnhardt, who was your points leader halfway through the season, fell off pretty badly there in the second half of the season. Again, still 7th in points when you take it in its totality, but overall, I was hoping for a bit more than that. So overall, I'm happy each of our teams gets a win. But I must say, Michael House, very surprising here. He had done okay in prior seasons, enough that I decided to sign him. But 5th in points, he gets a win, 10 top 5s. That's second in the series, 13 top 10s. That is also among the top. So very good on his part. So very impressed with Sammy Smith, 3rd in points, Michael House, 5th in points, and a very consistent year overall. And then, of course, we know Hunter Robbins, somebody we've got an eye on. I see Derek Thorne up here, just missed the top 5 in points, had 3 race wins. Very good there. Mike Snyder, another driver we might want to look at in the future. Picks up a race win as well as 4th in the points. Now, it's in the ARCA series right now, certainly not where he wants to be, but if you're going to be there, you might as well do well. And Alex LeBay is trying very hard to keep my attention long enough that I finally decide he deserves a shot. It's not likely to happen, but he's sure trying hard. I will grant him that. So that is going to do it for today. We've ran our very first truck season and season number 4 here in the ARCA series. We saw some drivers that really caught our attention, some drivers that were hoping for better, as well as some drivers who really impressed. Thank you guys so much for joining me, and stick around for more Custom Career Mode and Career Experience.